Open Doors U.S. has just released its annual World Watch List, and the global persecution trend is alarming. Although fewer Christians died for their faith in 2023, violent attacks against Christians and their churches are rising dramatically, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. Well, Ryan Brown is CEO of Open Doors U.S. He joins us to explain. Ryan, what's happening to Christians in sub-Saharan Africa, and why are the attacks worsening?
Great question. Yes, I think one of the primary reasons is that so many of these countries are already considered fragile states, where governments do not necessarily have full control of what is going on in these countries. And therefore, in these countries, Christians can become easy targets for those that are looking to create instability within those environments. Christians can often be targets that they can go against, that they can do so with impunity. They've received no consequence for those actions because, again, Christians are not often protected or recognized by the governments in those areas.
Although the overall global death numbers are down, I know you found that more than 82% of the Christians killed for faith reasons were in Nigeria. That's alarming. So why is the U.S. State Department not listing the country as one of particular concern?
That is a good question, and one that I think that there are probably many factors that could talk to many different folks and get many different opinions on that. But the reality is that Christians do suffer severely because of their faith in Nigeria. As you referenced, Nigeria alone, the number of people that have been killed because of their faith, that number surpasses all other countries in the globe combined. So truly an area where there's a lot of instability and a lot of need to be lifting up our brothers and sisters in prayer. Where
else in Africa are you concerned about?
Yeah, really throughout that area. There are some areas of encouragement. For example, we do see some changes in Mali that have given reasons for optimism. But really throughout that whole sub-Saharan area, there are alarming trends where we continue to see violence, and that violence not necessarily just characterizing those that have been martyred for their faith, but as well as violence perpetuated against Christians, whether those be physical attacks, whether it be attacks on houses of worship, whether that be actual personal residences of Christians. These numbers continue to grow at alarming rates.
Any specific country surprises this year? Which ones concern you the most right now around the world?
Yeah, I think every region has its story to tell, certainly. I think, one of the larger increases this year was actually in Nicaragua. So, not too far from us here in the U.S. And it is one that continues to see alarming trends where the government is really seeing, the Christian population as threats to the government, as threats to control, and therefore enact these persecutions against believers in those areas.
That's Daniel Ortega and the Sandinistas, a communist government. So how should our viewers respond then, and what should they pray around the world for believers?
Yeah, I think the first thing is awareness, and certainly that's the primary reason why we make this World Watch List available, is to provide credible information for believers to rally behind and inform their prayers. But the hope is that it does truly drive believers to prayer, to lift up our brothers and sisters, to identify with our brothers and sisters in their persecution around the globe. I cannot tell you how often I have heard reports back from brothers and sisters around the globe who have been so encouraged just by the awareness that they have not been forgotten. The brothers and sisters around the globe are lifting them up in prayer. Again, so many of our brothers and sisters are not necessarily seeking to flee that persecution, not looking to escape that persecution, but simply seeking to be the hands and feet of Christ within that context of persecution, looking to, for prayer, for encouragement that their testimony and their faith will not falter or fail in the face of such mounting odds.
Pray for their perseverance. Okay, I'm
Absolutely.
sure people can find your full list and your report at your website, correct?
That is correct. OpenDoorsUS.org. There will be links there to the prayer resources as well as to the watch list.
Okay, Ryan Brown, Open Doors U.S. Thank you, Ryan, for being with us. God bless you. Although fewer Christians died for their faith in Christ last year, Christian persecution is up, increasing to the highest level ever reported. According to Open Doors, a ministry to the persecuted church, 1 in 7 Christians worldwide now experience high levels of persecution or discrimination.
Part of the reason that it's getting worse is because it is getting worse in more places. So particularly this year, we see the spread of violence against Christians in sub-Saharan Africa.
In the 10 countries where Christians experience the most persecution, 7 of them are in countries like Somalia, Sudan, and Eritrea. But this year, North Korea earned the top spot as the worst country offender. In 2020, the communist regime passed a new thought law, increasing punishments for consuming Western radio and TV broadcasts, as well as Christian literature.
In fact, in 2020, with the anti-reactionary thought law that was introduced in North Korea, we see that just legitimizing further a consistent persecution of Christians in that nation. But honestly, it is harder for it to get worse than it is today.
Last year, Afghanistan held the #1 ranking on the Open Doors World Watch list after U.S. troops withdrew from the country in 2021. This year, Afghanistan is ranked #9.
The Christians that remain have gone deep underground, and so there are fewer Christians remaining, and few of them are willing to raise their heads and be seen.
Among other countries of concern, India, China, and Nigeria. That West African country is now ranked at #6. Just last week, assailants set the home of Roman Catholic priest Isaac Ache on fire, burning him to death. President Biden removed Nigeria from the U.S. list of countries of particular concern after the Trump administration gave the country that designation in late 2020.
There is clear evidence that there is persecution of Christians because of their faith. We would urge them to put Nigeria back onto that list of countries.
What is happening to Christians around the world right now?
Christianity is the most persecuted religion all around the world. Christians are being tortured, killed, executed, arrested for no crime at all, just for having the Christian faith. And we're seeing this everywhere we look, but most especially in Islamic countries. Since the West handed Afghanistan back to the Taliban, that has become the #1 place in the world for Christians to be persecuted. But what's worse than this is that we're not just being persecuted around the world, intolerance is growing in the West too. In the United Kingdom, in Australia, in America, tolerance of Christianity has taken a nosedive. It has become socially acceptable to criticize, persecute, to be hostile towards Christians in a way that people would never dream of doing to any other faith. Hinduism, Sikhism, Islam, Judaism are all protected for a very good reason. However, Christianity is seen as, well, it's one of ours, so we can punch down. However, it's no longer punching down. In countries like the United Kingdom, it's no longer the predominant religion. Islam and atheism is taking over as of the last census of last year. This is the problem. People think, okay, we can self-flagellate because this is a Christian nation. Well, in what sense is it? And if you keep punching so-called downed Christians, eventually there will be none left. What we need to do as Christians is stand up and say, actually, we believe in our faith too. We need protection under the law too. In fact, we have it, but we need it to be upheld. And it's not appropriate. Okay, mock us, fine, but mock everyone equally.
Just because you're Christian doesn't mean everything's okay. I've had a grenade with a pin at my house. I've had a spying drone over my house. Had a false article online to frame me as whatever. That online article was false. That online article did damage. That online article today doesn't exist. And I got kicked out of my bank. Everything I just said happened in a span of 8 weeks. It gets hot when you stand in front of the gates of hell and redirect traffic. God, if you don't give me arms and legs, just please use my pain. Romans 8:28, all things come together for the good for those who love him, who've been called according to his purposes.